Hello students, welcome to our second project, and this is everything that we are going to use. I'm using 8mm pearl beads, a pair of scissors, and a 0.7 fishing line. So I have my fishing line cut already, and I am going to string 4 beads on my fishing line, and I am going to cross with the 4th bead. So we have our first circle of 4 or our cross. I'm going to insert 1 bead into the fishing line on my left, 1 bead into the fishing line on my right, then grab the 3rd bead and I'm going to cross with that 3rd bead. So that gives our second cross or our second circle of 4. Now you're going to pick up 3 beads, insert 1 bead into the fishing line on your left, 1 bead into the fishing line on your right, and you are going to cross with the 3rd bead again. And we are going to continue this pattern until we have a total of 7 beads. So we need 7 circles of 4, but you need to stop at the 6th so that we are going to turn on the 7th. So I'm going to see you when you have 6 circles of 4 on your fishing line. So right now I have a total of 6 rings of 4 on my fishing line, and now I am going to do the 7th one. So on one end of your fishing line, which is the fishing line on my right, I'm going to pick up 3 beads and I am going to cross with the 3rd bead just like this, and that makes our 7th ring of 4, and that turn helps us to complete our work and to help us to start on the next row. Now the fishing line is still on my right, or the fishing line facing away from your work. You're still going to string 3 beads and you're going to cross with the 3rd bead, and this helps us to start row number 2, which is the second turn. Then we are going to start working our way down. So with the fishing line on my right, I'm inserting it into the following bead from the previous row. Then into the fishing line on my left, I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I'm going to cross with the 2nd bead just like that. Then I'm going to insert my fishing line into the following bead of the row again. That's the fishing line on my right. Then with the fishing line on my left, I'm going to pick up 2 beads and then I'm going to cross with the 2nd bead. So we are going to do this until we get to the last but 1 bead, and we are going to make our turn. Okay, we've gotten to the last but 1 bead. Now we are just going to complete the row. So I've inserted my fishing line into the following bead of the previous row, and on that same fishing line I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I am going to cross with the 2nd bead, and this is our first turn. This is our first turn, and this first turn completes the row that we are currently working on, and it helps us to start the next row. So we want to start on row number 3 right now because we have 2 rows. So I'm going to pick up 3 beads into the fishing line on my right, or the one facing away from our work. Then I am going to turn with the fishing line on my left. Okay, so I'm just going to cross, and that causes the turn, and I'm going to continue working downwards as we normally would. That's insert the fishing line on my right into the following bead from the previous row. Then with the fishing line on my left, I'm going to pick up 2 beads and cross with the 2nd bead, and I'm going to repeat this until I have a total of 29 rows. Okay, so you need it to be that long. Okay, so this phone bag is totally customizable. Please measure your phone first before you do this bag because everyone's phone size is different. So mine is about 13 inches. My entire length of my phone is about 13 inches. Like I said, I did a total of 29 rows. So if you want to get the measurement of your phone, measure the height of your phone plus 1 inch, then the width of your phone measure plus 1 inch or half an inch. Okay, so if you measure the entire height of your phone, make sure you plus 1 inch, you multiply that by 2, then you make your mat to be as long as that. So that's basically the mathematics of everything. I hope that made sense. So the width of the width of my mat was 3¼ inch. So I'm just going to join up the sides of my bag right now. I'm just going to join the sides together, and I'm using this extra fishing line that I had when I built the mat. If you do not have an extra fishing line, just grab a new line, then insert it into one of the beads at the side of your bag. Then with the fishing line that is facing away from your work, you're going to insert one bead there. Insert that same fishing line into the corresponding bead or the matching bead on the other side of the mat. Then you're going to pick up one more bead and you are going to cross, and it's going to form a circle of 4 like this. Insert the fishing line on your right into the following bead and the fishing line on your left into its own following bead. Pick up one bead and you cross. So you're going to repeat this. Insert the fishing line on your right to the following bead. Insert the fishing line on your left to its own following bead, and that make sure that each bead on each side matches the other. Then you pick up one bead and you cross, and you're going to make this pattern until you get to the bottom of your bag. So here we are at the bottom of our bag. I just crossed the last bead, and now I'm going to move my fishing line, one of the fishing lines, so that it meets the other one. And then I am going to tie. I'm making them to meet each other so that I can tie it easily. Then I can tuck in all the excess fishing line. So I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. The exact thing on the other side. So insert your fishing line. I'm inserting a new line at the bottom, that one base at the bottom right there. Then I'm inserting it into the 2 beads on each side. Then I pick up one bead and cross. I think I forgot to say this, but once you have your long mat, make sure that you fold the mat. Okay, fold the mat. My base here for my mat is 1 row, while the sides are 14 rows each. So 14 plus 1 plus 14 is a total of 29 rows. So that is how I calculated it. So here we are at the end. I'm just finishing up, picking one bead and meeting with the other fishing line. I'm going to tie, and I'm going to tuck in all the excess fishing lines very well, and I am going to cut whatever fishing line is left. So this is how our bag is looking like. She's looking nice and cute already. I just grabbed my tape so I can show you guys the measurements. So that's about 6¼ inch right there for the height of our bag. Then that is about 3 inches. 3¼ inch, I beg your pardon, 3¼ inch for the side. Okay, so now we are going to start building the lid of our bag, and building the lid is very easy. We are just going to build a mat. Choose any side of the bag from the top to start building a mat. I've inserted my fishing line into the very first bead. I've inserted my fishing line in the first bead at the side right there. Then with the fishing line on my right, I'm going to pick up 3 beads, and I am going to cross with the 3rd bead. So I've picked up my 2 beads and I've crossed with the 2nd bead. The fishing line on my right, I'm inserting it into the following bead from the previous row. Then I'm going to pick up the fishing line on my left and pick 2 beads, and I'm going to cross with the 2nd bead. And the fishing line on my right, I'm inserting it into the following bead, and I'm picking up 2 beads and I'm going to cross with the 2nd bead. So I'm going to work this until I get to the last but 1 bead, and I am going to turn. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so I've inserted the fishing line on my right to the last bead of that row. Then on that same fishing line, I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I'm going to cross, and that is our first turn. And on the fishing line still on my right hand, which is the one facing away from the work, I'm going to pick up 3 beads and cross with the 3rd bead, which is our second turn, which helps us to start the next row. Okay, so I am going to bead 3 rows of this, just like this. So I have a total of 3 rows that I've made right here, and I am going to start doing a decrease for the lid of our bag. So I'm going to go into the second bead, insert my fishing line into the second bead right there, and then with the fishing line on my left, I'm going to pick up 3 beads, and I'm going to cross it with the third bead. And then I'm going to insert my fishing line into the following bead, pick up 2 beads with the fishing line on my left and cross with the second bead, and I'm going to work like this until I get to the last but one bead. But that last but one bead is going to be a little bit different because we are going to do a reduction. Since we did a reduction in the beginning, we have to do a reduction at the end as well. So we are going to do a reduction, and when we get there, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So we are with our last but one bead. We are with our last but one bead right now. So I'm inserting my working line into that last but one bead, and then I am going to pick up 2 beads, and I am going to cross, I beg your pardon, I'm going to cross backwards into that former crossing bead that we had there, just like this. Now my crossing bead, my 2 fishing lines are in the middle, so I'm going to move my fishing lines till they get to the second bead at the top right there, and that is going to do another reduction. Okay, so we are going to be reducing like this until we are left with just 1 bead at the tip of the lid of our bag. So I'm just going to let you guys watch. Okay, now we have our 1 circle of 4 at the tip, and as you can see, that's how it's looking like. This is how it's looking like. This is a pro tip for you guys. When you're starting your the beginning part of your bag, make sure it's an odd number if you want to have this decrease on your bag. So I started with 7, so I have this tip. You could do 9, you could do 11, or is that supposed to be an odd number? Okay, so with one end of my fishing line, I have just inserted 6 beads. So I want to do the hoop, or rather the lock for the bag. I want to do the lock for the bag. So this lock, I decided to add 6 beads plus the bead that our fishing line was already attached to is 7. So this is a ring of 7 to create that loop. So with all my fishing line in one spot, I am just going to tie everything. I'm just going to tie it. Then I'm going to tuck my fishing line. So now our hoop is done. Now we want to do the lock part, for our bag. So I'm going to grab a new fishing line, and I'm going to string 3 beads on that fishing line, and I am going to cross with the third bead. So this is going to form our lock. This is going to help us lock our bag. So just measure to where you want your your hoop and your lock to be. So mine is at the 5th circle of 4. Then I am going to insert my fishing line from right to left, just one end. Then I am going to tie it down just like that, tie it nice and firm. And then I am going to tuck in my excess fishing line. I'm just going to tuck in all the excess fishing line. So this creates our lock, and let's test it out. Just insert one end of the beads into the loop, then the others and the second bead into the loop. So that is basically a very cute lock that you make when you're on your bag with beads, if you don't want to use a magnetic lock for your bag. So this is what our bag is looking like, and now we are going to create the rope of our bag. I'm going to create a rope of our bag. So I'm going to grab a very long fishing line, then I'm going to insert it into that corner bead right there. That corner bead just right there. Make sure your fishing line is long, a fishing line that you think is going to be able, like you're comfortable with, to cross over your body. Then you're going to insert one bead into the left side of your fishing line, one bead into the right side of your fishing line, and you're going to join both fishing lines together and insert both fishing lines one way, do not cross, one way into the next bead. Now for my handle of my bag, I inserted a total of 140 pearl beads for my handle, and that was the length that was perfect for me. So you could do more, you could do less, it all depends on you. So go ahead and string your beads. So here we are at the end. We are here at the end. So I'm just going to separate both fishing lines. Insert one bead into the left fishing line, another bead into the right fishing line, and then I am just going to pull one end of the fishing line on one side, and I am going to tie, and that is basically it for this entire bag. When you tie, you tuck in your fishing line, then you cut the excess fishing line. So that's basically it for this tutorial. Your bag is going to be looking nice and cute. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching the tutorial. I hope it was helpful, and I'm going to see you in our third project. Bye.